Mhm.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Welcome. So
Oh,
I am Marie Hughley, student of transformative leadership, writer, creator, and proud single mom to a 13-year-old girl. Okay, so imagine looking up to the top of a mountain you know you have to climb. At the top, you see a field of the most coveted flowers blossoming. You know that this is the place you want to be, but you also know that the journey will be through rugged and steep terrain. My project is called A Steep Bloom, and it's about community and empowering single working mothers to thrive. Like it or not, the Center for American Progress states that there are approximately 7.3 million single mothers in the US as of 2023. I thought, how amazing would it be to interview women who are really immersed in this journey, no matter how temporary, in the advocacy and in the game of life, in survival and manifesting and creating abundance. My intent is to interview women who are doing amazing things and have really beat the odds and have been able to also share their success and can share their perspective on life with others and helping others. A lot is happening to us, for us, against us, and by us. It flies by, and we barely have time to reflect on it. We barely remember what happened, right? Or realize it happened. So, with that, I'd like to welcome Tisha Janijian. I hope I said that correctly, who is the executive
Tunisian's
director and
close.
founder of
Yeah.
she is Hope LA and she is Hope Realty. So,
There we go.
Tisha, I would love it if you could tell us a little bit more about your background and what brought you to where you are today.
Oh boy, it's a long one, but it's a good one. I'll tell you, I wouldn't trade it for the world because it's given me my purpose. So 13 years ago in 2012, I got divorced and I had two little boys with me by my side. They were 5 and 7 at the time. I had no money, no credit, no assets, and just a suitcase for each of us. So it was a big journey. I wasn't in the best marriage and, had gone back and forth several times because I wasn't sure of myself. And I had lost the self-confidence during that time. So when I was ready, I always liken it to when a woman just like somebody rips open the shirt and it's like a Superman or Wonder Woman shirt, underneath it, and you're just ready to take on the world no matter what the cost is. So like what you were saying, even though I knew it was going to be a really steep, difficult climb, I knew where I wanted to be. I had kept my eyes on the prize on that beautiful flower field, and I just put one foot in front of the other. There were times I did go backwards, of course. We all have our meltdowns and difficult days, but overall, I just kept moving ahead. And I knew where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be a good example for my kids and to give them a better life than I had. So that was my biggest motivator, I would say. And then I was very fortunate to have the help of my parents. So
Mm,
they had given up a lot to help me. I'm an only child, and they retired early. They sold their business and lost it to someone that took advantage of the situation, but they were
mm,
always there for me. So together we somehow made it. When I moved back to LA 13 years ago, they were still in another state. And I was here trying to find work and I couldn't afford childcare. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? So, because my younger one was just starting kindergarten and there was no free childcare until they were in second grade. And I started looking for part-time work and I was told I was overqualified because I had a bachelor's degree and I wouldn't stick around. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I ended up finding a job for a couple hours a week. My food stamp benefits went down to almost nothing. I would have made more staying home doing nothing, but I wouldn't have gotten anywhere with my career. And I recognized that was the fault of the system and how I'd been seeing and hearing this over the years with other people. So I took the leap of faith. I accepted the job. That's when I started sharing my story with other parents at the school. I was mortified. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to do that, but I knew I had to because we were
yeah.
in dire straits. So once I did that, these other parents gave me babysitting jobs, pet sitting jobs, told me about focus groups and gave me that hand up instead of a hand out. And so that's what I now do for single moms. I give them all the tools that I needed to get ahead. So I recognize there's a gap over poverty, and we try to bridge that gap with She is Hope LA. But I love what we're doing. And then She is Hope Realty, we help them with the housing advocacy. hopefully we'll be providing them housing soon, but we help them with basic resources, education, job training, housing advocacy, and all of that. So
Mm.
it's been a road and I'm still on my journey, but I'm going to take women with me as I'm going. So
Yeah, that's so inspiring. You know, I really admire you. I admire you following this passion and being an advocate for so many. And so I was saying like, um, is there one moment that you felt that where the momentum started and where things just started speeding up and all the good things started happening? Or was it, and I liked what you said about confidence and feeling like worthy and that like self-worth and like is it like, did it all kind of come together at once where the more you did, the more it built up more confidence and,
it took a minute for me. And I see that this happens with a lot of the ladies that I work with because that self-confidence thing does a number on you. I was
yeah.
married for 19 years and with him a total of
Wow.
25. So what I've noticed is when women are married, it's about the half-life of their marriage before they realize that they can do this and get through it. But I'll tell you, it took me a long time to get there, and I really doubted myself. I wasn't getting hired. I was nervous in interviews, and it's so unlike me because it's not how I was before I got married, but I lost myself during the marriage. And that's on me too. So it always takes two to tango, right? It was not the best situation, but um, I was always a giver and he was a taker. And then when we had kids that had both a lot of health issues, it really made it a lot more difficult and stressful. And I think that's what
Right.
really woke me up. I knew I wasn't in the best situation, but when we had our children, I was like, we're on very different paths and we have very different priorities for our kids. I want them to do
Mhm.
better than us. I want them to be superstars and change this world. And
Yeah.
my ex didn't, have the same thoughts. So my focus turned to
Yeah.
the kids, and that's what gave me the strength to do this. But it took time. It took a
Mm.
lot of time because I really had a lot of doubts because of all the things that had been, said to me over the years and how things happened and transpired. So, but once I
Yeah.
was ready, it was like, I don't care. I'm going to take on the world. I don't care how difficult this is. I've got to do this for me and these boys.
I
So
love
I
that.
did. And I am so grateful. It's like been a long journey, like I said, but this has been, I'd say, the strongest year that I've had since all of that, even with all the crazy wildfires and everything else going on. I've been able to
Yeah.
give back so much while doing well. And I love, love, love working with this nonprofit, like founding this and then having the real estate brokerage that donates a portion of the commissions to it. Like it's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing. And that's what
Yeah.
differentiates us. And there's not a lot out there for single moms.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of work to be done. I really want to take this across the country and internationally because single moms aren't just here in LA.
No, no, they're not. And I just wanted to mention, so I think I saw recently, so your son is also just got his real estate license as well, so he can work
Both of
with you
them.
now. Oh, both
Both
of
of
them.
them.
Both
So
of
the one is
them.
just
Oh my
having
God,
because
that's
of the
amazing.
shutdown, there's a
Yeah.
delay getting his real estate number, but they both did.
Okay.
So, listen, I
Aw.
know that's not going to be their primary thing. The one studying medicine, one studying finance, but I want them
Okay.
to learn the businesses. They already know what
Yeah.
we've been doing, but I want them to
Yeah.
have a better, understanding of it. So when I'm gone, they can continue this legacy and keep things
Hmm.
going.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love the idea of legacy too.
Mhm.
All right, so I'm going to just go a little bit of a different direction. So I want to contemplate what it means to curate circles of support for ourselves. Um, so I think that there's a lot of untapped community waiting for us once we get strategic about the type of people we want in our lives or the type of people we want influencing our lives. How does this idea of curating circles of support play out in your life?
It's interesting. I thought that was a very good question when I was looking at it, because it's true. I mean, I have a lot of different circles because I think I have a very unusual situation with being a nonprofit founder and a real estate broker. So I have my real estate circles, I have my single mom circles, and then I have other people that want to help me grow the nonprofit circles. And then I join different networking groups and things like that. But I have to say, I've pared that down. I think I was joining too many things because I was getting
Mhm.
so excited and I wasn't giving myself the time. It's finding that work-life balance, right? But surrounding
Yeah.
yourself by people with the same mindset is so important to help you grow and can do what you want to do. So I
Mhm.
love it.
That's great.
Mm,
Yeah, I think I think about this idea of curating circles of support a lot. And like I've really
mm,
tried to branch out a little bit more. I feel like as we get older, it's not as easy to connect socially, like with new friends, and you have to kind of
mm,
put yourself out there. Not and professionally, that's another situation, but I think,
mm,
socially sometimes or personally, um, and but the times I've tried to be a little bit more strategic about okay, I need to know this mom. Like I need to
mm.
not just have friends who are single with no kids, but I need mom friends. And I think what happens is I get so busy, and then if I have another mom friend who's also just like me, like super, like we, it might be a year before we actually connect because we're so busy, and
That's so
priorities, like
true.
our kids come first. So
I just had
yeah.
that. I was talking to another mom friend of mine, and it's been a year since we've seen each other. And I'm
Mhm.
like, how did that happen? This year's been a little
Yeah.
different because of all of the wildfires and things. I think it's been a
Right.
bit of an exception, but you're right. We
Yeah.
get so busy. And I've
Mhm.
noticed that, like, it's just with all the technology, I find that we're filling our time even more because, yes, it's making
Mhm.
us more efficient, but it's also taking us away from the connections. And this is something I'm recognizing, and I really want to change that in the next year. But when you're talking about curating circles of like support, this is also part of what I want to do when we obtain an apartment building or a hotel for our single moms so that they can be
Okay.
there to support each other. We've already got a community, but to take it to
Mhm.
that next level where they can be there to help each other with childcare, with,
That's
food
huge.
prep,
Childcare. Yeah.
and just being there for each other. But yeah, childcare was
Mhm.
huge for me when I started over. I couldn't afford the school support and the other
Mhm.
programs. So I was the one offering to babysit a lot because I couldn't afford to go do anything. So, you know what
Right.
I mean? So it was crazy.
Yeah.
And it's also nerve-wracking when you don't know anybody, to leave your kids with them. So
Mhm.
when you're working when you're living together in kind of this community co-op sort of situation that we're trying to build, it'll be a lot
Mhm.
easier because you'll have so many
Mhm.
people that are there with the same backgrounds, the same stories that understand, and I just
Mhm.
can't wait to get that started.
Yeah. And like you said, I also think like it's important to we want people that are like us and that, but then we also want people that are uh you know maybe in a different group, like you have several different groups so that you can pull and have these like reciprocal relationships with all
Mm.
of them, and
Great.
connect them, and I think that
Yeah,
that's and we have the ability. I mean, that's something that we can empower ourselves to do, like anybody can do that. And once we start doing that, I feel like and we intentionally do that, things change. Things can change for us.
absolutely.
And then I guess my next question is, so how have you manifested things in your life, and how do you stay hopeful and resilient? Whichever one you want to answer, or both.
You know, well, I have always said, like, I've always kept my eyes on the prize because I knew I had to get to the point where I wanted to, personally, for me, I wanted to be a homeowner and I wanted to
Mhm.
travel with my kids. And it took me a lot. We've done little
Mhm.
trips, around the States, but I'm taking
Yeah.
them to Europe finally. I've been talking about this for years, and this is the first
Okay.
time we're able to do it. I can't wait.
Uh,
We're going to go for New Year's. We'll be in Rome. So,
really? Oh my
you know,
gosh.
so we're going to
For
see
New
as many,
Year's.
yes, for New Year's. We're going to see as many
Okay.
countries as we can in a short amount of time. But that wasn't going to be the initial thing. But as I brought
Hmm.
them into it, because I want them to help, with the planning and everything, this is going to be
Yeah.
such a great memory because they're older now. They're 18 and 20, and
Yeah.
one's going to be 21 next week. So,
Hmm. Still your baby, though. Still your baby.
yeah. And you know what? I
Right?
think they'll probably only be around for another year or so. So I want to create as many
Okay.
memories as possible with them.
Hmm.
But, I think just keeping your eyes on the prize and not getting too distracted. We'll have, like I said, we'll have meltdowns once in a while. And, it's like tacos. They fall apart sometimes, but everyone still loves them. It's all good,
Right? I like that. That's really good. I love that.
We have to remember that, we're
Yeah.
human, we're not going to be
Yeah.
perfect all the time. But,
Yeah.
as long as you keep your focus, and my kids were really my big motivator. I wanted
Hmm.
to provide for them. I wanted to make
Hmm.
sure they did better and they didn't make the
Yeah.
same mistakes that I made, and
Hmm.
I wouldn't change anything. Like I said, I gave me my beautiful boys, gave me my
Hmm.
purpose and my mission in life, and I couldn't be happier.
I love that. That is so great. Um, So, well, and my question was, how do you think your sons have been influenced by your journey? But I think this is that they're going to go to Europe soon, so so
Yeah.
that's helpful. That's
And they
wonderful.
got their licenses and they know. I
Yeah.
mean, they've been a part of it. They help me with the food
Hmm.
pickups. They help me with all the distributions. They're there at all the big events. They know and they help me set up and do things. They understand what we're doing and they're feeding people too that come for the food bank. When I'm
Mm.
not home, I'll set up times if they can help if they're home and I'll say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" So
Hmm.
they understand the need. I think it's interesting because when I look back, when we were at our lowest, I didn't want to scare them. I wanted to just make life as good as I could. And they didn't
Yeah.
know we were not getting by. Like we were
Yeah.
literally on the edge of losing our housing. And
Wow.
I was again one of the lucky ones because
Yeah.
I had taken that job and I was doing all these side hustles and I still wasn't covering everything. And I thought, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, right when we were not to be able to pay the next month's rent, I thought,
Hmm.
here we go. This is it. Because the Section 8 waiting lists were years long. And I
Hmm.
was like, I don't know what we're going to do. There was an opportunity with the job, that part-time job that I had, and
Yeah.
they were interviewing for a full-time role. And I was like, I'm going to go for it. So I
Hmm.
went for it. I interviewed, I sold myself, and I got it. And the thing that
Oh.
I think that's funny, because even though I was so desperate and such great need, by then I started recognizing my worth. And
Mm.
they made an offer. And I said, that's nice, but a little bit more would be better.
Good for
And
you. Good for
they
you.
came up a few, and I was like, that's it. And I,
Every woman needs to do that.
yes,
Every woman, because we
yes.
don't realize how. Okay, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Please continue.
No, you're right. No, but that's it. Every woman
Yeah.
does. And I can't believe I did that when I was like on the verge of
Hmm.
being homeless, but I recognize that I can do this. And I know I'm good. And I pumped up my background because the thing is, I didn't work for so many years. I was raising my boys that both had health issues. I helped my ex with his business. And then I was doing little side hustles, but they had a lot of health issues. And so there was a big gap in my employment. And I
Yeah.
really had to like sell myself, but I was already in the company. So I had the foot in the door and I just pumped it up and myself up and my skills. And I was so excited that they did it. But yeah, I actually had
Mm.
the wherewithal to ask for more money and they gave it. And I was so thrilled. And that was the big changing point for me because it
Hmm.
gave me a little bit of breathing room. So I got
Yeah.
the benefits and the company car. And but it was interesting because my kids, I had to get them cell phones right away because I was on the road so much. But it was
Yeah.
also a time where my parents were able to sell their home in another state at a loss because they knew that I
Hmm.
was sinking. So it was right exactly at the same time. They sold their home
Yeah.
and I got promoted. So it was a matter of trying to find a home for all of us to be in
Hmm.
together. And then
Hmm.
making sure I didn't get fired from this new job because I was so
Hmm.
distracted with so many things that were going on, but I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
And I stayed with the company 10 years. I had just left.
Yeah.
It'll be actually 3 years this month that I hurt
Oh,
my
okay.
back. I hurt my
Okay.
back
Okay.
there and
Oh, okay.
had a
Okay.
lot of other issues that came up with it, like health
Hmm.
wise. But I was so thankful for the job and the opportunity.
Hmm.
And it's funny, I'd never worked anywhere that long because my life has been a little bit tumultuous, but I was
Hmm.
so excited and so thankful that they gave me an opportunity when nobody else did. So I wanted to be loyal, but I also was afraid. And I thought, you
Hmm.
know what? It's time for me to practice what I preach with the single moms and believe in myself to enough to just do real estate and the nonprofit. I mean, the nonprofit's
Hmm.
volunteer, you know what I mean? Don't make anything from
Yeah.
that. And maybe someday, whatever, that we'll be able to pay the board, but not now. We're still very grassroots. But I
Yeah.
just am working with real estate and supporting us. And I've been making it happen. And
Yeah.
it was a scary couple of years, but this year was really great.
Hmm.
But I was like, I got to practice what I preach with these moms now and believe in
Yeah.
myself enough to do this. And I love it. I wouldn't ever change it. I'm not turning back. I'm going to just keep going.
And you're such an influence on your boys, and I think that that is, I mean, I was just talking with somebody today, like they're not always listening to what we say, but they listen to what we're doing. They're
Mhm.
listening and they take it
Mhm.
all in.
And they
And
watch.
um yeah, and they watch, right? So I think that that is very telling. So I'm sure that they will continue to be I don't want to say hustling. You know,
I know. Well,
they
it
will.
is. I mean, I say it. We gotta.
Yeah, I mean, they will, they're going to aim high. because
They
you aim
are.
high,
Yeah.
and you've created something. Like when you got that job, I'm sure your life changed so much, and they'll always remember that as like a turning point in their life, in their family life. And that's the thing, like we have this a legacy also of just like the memories that we create,
Mhm.
and it all goes so fast, but
Yes.
and we don't want it to go, like we think we want it to go faster, like, oh, if they're just a little bit older, then we can do so much more. If they're a little
Right.
bit older, then they can, I think of that with my daughter. If she's a little older, then I can go and do this. And then but then it's almost like stealing time, because
Yeah.
you need to have that time with them and create those memories and create those moments to be proud and to just love. And yeah, so
That's so true. And it's interesting because yes, that job was ch life changing for me, but I was gone a lot. You know what I mean? I
mm,
had to prove myself with a new job. I was on the road. I had a huge territory, but luckily
mhm.
my parents, like I said, had come back. So they were able to help me with the pickup with schools because if not, it would have been it would have been doable, but very difficult, right? So
Yeah,
I wasn't around a lot at that point, and then that's where I was trying to have that work-life balance. So the job was flexible enough where if they had field trips or if they were sick, I was able to work from home those days because it was
that's
literally like a
good.
sales job out of the car. So I was very like it was the perfect setup for a single
Yeah,
mom. You know what I mean? To just
yeah,
be
yeah,
flexible enough. So I tried to make myself available, but you talk about the memories when we were really broke and I was literally going to the dollar store for gifts, for food, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
trying to stretch every dollar because it was so hard to compete with my ex. He would get all the good gifts and I'd feel like the terrible parent, but I know
Oh,
it's not about that. But
right,
back then it made me feel bad. Now I look back and I'm like, whatever. But I
right.
would try to be really creative and like with mac and cheese, I'd add peas so I could get some greens in there. And I'm like, oh, we're
Yep.
gonna have cereal for breakfast, I mean, cereal
Mhm.
for dinner. We're gonna have breakfast for dinner. Yay. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
made it fun, but it was
yeah.
terrifying trying to get by.
Mhm.
But it's funny to this day, mac and cheese with peas is one of their favorite meals. And it's like, because I made it fun and different, and I was
Yeah,
trying not to show them like
yeah.
how like hard things were, but
Okay,
we did it. And
that's really
they look back and they have good memories, thankfully. But yes, I still want to make
mm,
some more before they fly the coop.
right, right. So my next question is, what are a few non-negotiables when it comes to thriving as a single working mom? You know, character traits, most important structures to put in place, lifestyle, home requirements, things like that.
Oh, that's a tough one because I'm still on my journey. So that's kind of a hard one
Hmm.
for me to answer. I
Okay.
still am struggling with the work-life balance. I
Hmm.
have a difficult time saying no, but at least I recognize that. But like
Yeah.
we're still growing. We have so much
Yeah.
more to do. And um I'm so passionate about it and I will make this happen. Like we're going to get a building. And once I do that, we'll get the funding we need to grow to the next state. And this is
Hmm.
my goal. And I know I'm going to need a lot of help doing this. So that's
Hmm.
where I've learned to ask for help. I'm learning to delegate more. And I knew this with the other job, but because it's like volunteer for the nonprofit portion, it's very difficult to have those same expectations. Like if I could pay people, it would be different. So
Sure.
I end up doing a lot myself, but I'm starting to let
Yeah.
that go. And I am learning to have that balance and spend the time with the kids, when I can. And
Hmm.
um, non-negotiables like for the holidays and things like that, like for Thanksgiving, we decorated our tree
Yeah.
together and I cooked and just enjoyed the time with them. So there's certain things that
Hmm.
I will do, and I try to always get away at least once, if not twice a year, even if it's little trips, you know what I mean, with the
Yeah.
boys, just to have that time with them because they
Hmm.
are my reason, they're my purpose, they're my everything.
Yeah, those
And
little trips count too,
yeah,
they really make a big difference as well. Sometimes I forget, like, oh,
absolutely.
we can just take a drive to like Ojai or something, and yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And when we go out to dinner, like if we go out together for dinner, which I try to make happen too once in a while, like my son's turning 21 next week. I've got reservations. We're going to all sit and go together.
nice.
And we've been trying to not have our phones,
Yes,
and
yeah.
really
Oh, that's a
enjoy
challenge.
each other. It is a
Yeah.
challenge, but it's funny. I feel like I've been the worst culprit because, with real estate and everything else, I'm always answering
Hmm.
phones. But it's like what I've done just this year is turn the sound off my phone when I'm away. I had never done that before. And I'll look at
Okay.
it when I can. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'll answer the things then, but I'm realizing I need to learn to relax and decompress and,
Yeah.
put myself where
We
my
all
kids can
do.
relax.
Yeah.
So that's been my little trick this year to get by. It's a new non-negotiable for me, and just learning
Mhm.
to enjoy vacations when I get away instead of working the whole time, which is something I used to do. So,
Oh yeah. No, yeah. I was thinking you could take a cruise without the Wi-Fi or something if you're a
right?
cruiser, but yeah. It's so important. It is important.
It is.
Um, so let's see. How can single moms in need, single moms in need or donors reach you? Like, what would be the best way for them to reach you?
You can reach us through our website at sheishopela.org, and we're also on Instagram at sheishopela.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really love this quote. Make the most of yourself by fanning the tiny inner sparks of possibility into flames of achievement by Golda Meir.
Nice.
And I think we can end with that. Was there anything else you would like to let everybody know? Or I think that I'm just so honored to be able to interview you and um, to hear all these amazing things that you're doing and also to be able to help out and volunteer sometimes. I appreciate you letting me into your world a little bit to have those experiences. So
Oh my word. It's a huge help. You have no idea. We're honored to have you. You're just lovely, and you're just reliable, independent, and just a beautiful light. So we're very thankful to have you in
you're
our
very sweet.
She is Hope World. But one of my favorite saying, like I love the one that you said, but one of my favorite sayings is because I we work with together so well. I'm like, together we make a greater impact. That's one of my favorite things. And
For
I'd like
sure.
to end with that just because I want to say, it's not just there's not the I, it's not just you. It's about what we
Hmm.
can do for others and uplifting others, while
Yeah,
we're doing our thing.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tisha. And I hope you have a great
Absolutely.
night and a wonderful vacation coming up with your boys.
I know, I
Take
can't
lots
wait.
of photos and you have to print out actual photo albums. That's my thing. You
Oh,
have
that's
to
cute.
somehow make yourself do it.
That's
I'm still trying to do
adorable.
that from a past trip, but yeah.
That's so fun. I love it. Love it. Love it.
All right.
All right,
Uh,
honey. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank
And
you
thank you
so
for what you're
much.
doing. This is beautiful.
You too. Thank
Okay,
you. Bye-bye.
bye. Bye.